What's up, guys? So today in this video, I'm going to share with you is Bruce Lee's fighting method. Now, this fighting method of his is performed by Richard Bustillo and Ted Wong. Richard on the left, Ted Wong on the right. And these two are Bruce Lee's students. Richard is more of a concept guy who trains with Dan Inosanto right after Bruce passed away. Now, Ted Wong is a student that was started at the school in LA, but then eventually Bruce Lee picked him up and took him to train in Bruce Lee's backyard. So Ted is actually Bruce's student, one of the backyard students. And Ted eventually became Bruce Lee's very, very close friend, if not a best friend of Bruce Lee's. So in this little video, it's like an hour or something long, but I actually cut some stuff out that weren't really necessary, like the warm-ups and some of the punches that were they weren't just punches, but they were other stuff that was incorporated in there too. So I kind of shorten it up so that we can kind of talk about it. And it's still pretty long. It's like 30 something minutes, but some things I want to show and some things I want to point out. And these are some of the fighting methods. Okay, we're gonna kind of review and talk about them also. So
Other leg flexibility exercises.
this warm up right here, Ted is doing
Use a long rope supported by
a stretch, a certain kind of stretch that Bruce Lee would normally do. So he would use this pulley system to pull his leg up for a side kick or a front kick to kind of help him stretch so that he can actually get his leg up further. And this is how Bruce Lee got his famous side kick, was doing this stretch right here.
It is important to position your arms, feet, and head.
Now in this part of the
Leading hand
the whole series here, Ted is actually showing you guys the stance. So this is the JKD stance.
Halfway. The right shoulder raised an inch or two, and the chin dropped about the same distance.
And this is the perfect way of standing for JKD fighters or for a actual JKD person. So this is the front view, of course.
The muscles and bone structure are in the best possible alignment, protecting the point of the chin.
And you see how he has the heel in the back there and then that line in the middle? That's how you're supposed to stand for a JKD.
Only in rare extreme defensive maneuvers should the point of the chin be tucked into the lead shoulder.
Ted's very slim. I remember meeting Ted. He was very, very thin, about like my height. But he had no fat on him whatsoever. And now you can see here, this is Richard standing in like a bear stance. He's standing in the wrong way, where he's showing his center line. And Ted is actually hiding more of his center line behind that front leg.
Good form is essential in your
So now Ted is moving around in the stance, and he's showing you certain things you can and can't do.
The most important aspect of the on-guard stance. Without proper balance at all times, you will lose body control in the middle of an
Now,
action.
Bruce Lee's stance was made more for the front hand. And as he moved back, when he dropped that hand down, that was going to become a back fist when he came forward. So that's why that hand would go down when he moved back. It was kind of like baiting you to move in some more so he could back fist you in the face. Or he'll come around and hook you in the face. So these are some of the things that you can actually do from this stance. And Ted is the perfect example of a real JKD practitioner, or if you're going to use it in combative form. So this is, now you got to remember too, Ted is Bruce Lee's backyard student. So this is the stuff that Bruce taught Ted.
Remember, if you tense up, you lose your balance, timing, and flexibility, which are essential to all proficient fighters. To advance, do not cross or hop, but shuffle your feet. the outset, you will feel
Okay,
clumsy
so
and slow,
now
but as
these
you
are the
keep
footwork.
practicing this movement daily, you will develop
So
your
the
skills
JKD
and grip.
stance, the footwork,
Do the forward shuffle, stand in the on-guard position, and move forward cautiously. Slide your
and
front
they
foot
explain it
forward
very
about a
well
half
in
step,
this video.
widening the space between your feet just for a second as you slide your rear foot
Step,
forward.
and then you bring that
When
back
the rear
feet
foot is moved
forward,
forward,
just
you
like
should be
that.
at
This
the
is
original
one of
position.
the
Then move
footwork
your
that
feet
I was
further
taught when
forward
I
to
started
repeat the
training in
process.
JKD, stepping forward and then bring that back feet forward. But you still leave that little gap in the middle so that you can actually move. You can actually, you're not off balance, because if your feet are both together,
In retreating
then
or
that would
moving
actually
backwards,
restrict you from
you just
moving
reverse
left
your
and right,
movement.
and you're
The
off
basis
balance.
behind the backward shuffle is like the advance.
Now this was
From the
another move
on-guard
that,
position,
another footwork
slide
that I
your rear
learned,
foot backward about
and
a half a step,
this is
widening the
moving
space
back.
between your
You're
feet
doing the
just
exact
for
same
a
thing.
split
You're moving
second
that back leg
as you
first,
slide
and then
your
you're
front
bringing
foot
that front
backward.
feet back,
When the front foot is in place, you should be in the on-guard position and perfectly balanced.
just like this.
Unlike the advance shuffle, your weight would shift slightly for just an instant to your rear foot.
And Ted
when you
is very,
slide your
very
front
light
foot
on his
backward.
feet. If you
To
ever
retreat
see
further,
him move in
continue to
person,
repeat the process.
he is phenomenal. His footwork is so, so nice.
From
Quick
the on-guard
advance.
position with your
I actually
front
call
foot,
this a
step
lunge
forward
step,
a few inches.
because your
As
back
soon as
feet
you
is
glide
actually
your front
moving
foot,
in.
quickly slide your back foot almost to
See how
replace your
that back
front
feet
foot
is
position.
moving in all the way
Unless you
towards the
move your
front feet?
foot instantly, the rear
So
foot
you're actually
cannot be
pushing off
slided
that back
properly
feet.
because the front foot will be in its way.
You could actually move that feet forward first,
But the purpose of this movement is to move your body quickly
just like
to a
that.
distance 8 feet or more that
But I
requires
think the
several
next move, the next footwork is going to be the one where you're going to move that feet forward first.
The footwork for the quick retreat or rapid backward movement is almost similar
Same
to the
thing.
quick advance, except you move in the opposite direction. Unlike the quick advance, you do not have to slide your foot a few inches. It is just one quick motion, but your body should be in alignment and in balance. The
Ted
front
does this
foot,
really, really
like the
well
quick
if you see
advance,
him in person.
initiates the movement with the rear foot following just a split second later.
And it's just so light on his feet. Now this is the one I was talking about, the burst. You actually bring in that back feet first, and then you move the
forward
front feet,
burst is the
So,
quickest JKD
here,
movement.
just like
It
that,
is utilized to penetrate deeply to attack with a kick or to counter an attack.
just like a
Like the
pendulum.
quick
Yep.
advance movement, it is a deep lunge from the on-guard position. By using a sweeping motion with the lead hand, momentum is created, propelling you forward. Sidestepping is used to avoid straightforward assaults and to produce openings for a counterstrike when the opponent least
Yep,
expects
I
it.
remember doing this
Sidestep
too in
to the left
practice.
from the
So
on-guard
you're
position.
stepping to the side.
Move your left foot
If you're
toward
stepping
the
to
left a
the
few
left,
inches.
your left
For a
feet
split
moves
instant, your
first. If
shoulder
you step to
sways
the
toward
right,
your left,
your
and
right
weight
feet
shifts
moves
on the rear
first.
foot. Your shoulder
So
automatically
it won't
realigns
complicate
when
you,
quickly slide your right
and
foot
your
in the
feet won't
exact manner
cross.
and resume the
That
on-guard
way,
position.
your feet are still in the same distance, and also they're not crossing. If ever you fight like a wrestler who's trying to take you down,
To sidestep
feet
to the
crossing
right,
is
the move
probably
is
the
almost
worst,
the same,
because when
except
your
that you
feet
lead with the
crosses,
front foot
you're off
and move
balance,
toward your right.
you're vulnerable, and you can't move back and forth. You can't really move at all if your feet are crossed. So left foot, right foot first. Very, very simple.
Using a long staff, have an opponent aim and
Now
thrust it toward
this
you. In order
was
to
a good
avoid the
way
edge
of
the staff,
practicing
you'll be forced to either
slipping
sidestep to
and
the right or
dodging.
left.
The reason
Try to get
why is
used to the
because
feeling
it's
of
a
moving
pull.
side to side
It's
while
not something
maintaining your
big that's
balance.
coming at you. It's actually something
Slightly
very
leaning the
small. So
body
your
while
eyes
sidestepping
get used
can
to
contribute to
seeing
avoiding a
this
blow.
small object coming at you, just like a punch.
From an outside
And
position of
here,
your fingers and thumb,
Ted is
fold your
showing you
fingertips into your
how
palm,
to
then
hold
overlap your thumb tightly
your
over your
punches.
clenched fingers. The tip of the thumb
So this
extends
is
to the
how
center of
you
your middle finger.
actually make a fist when you're throwing a punch.
One of the best ways to learn to power
And
throw
Richard
is to use
is
your
now
hips.
going to show you the
To do
best
this,
way
tie a
of
string to a piece
throwing
of paper and hang it
power
from the ceiling to
punches.
about chest height.
A lot of people
Stand
think that
about a
you
foot
have to
away
use
with
a
both of
heavy
your
bag
feet
for
parallel to the
power.
paper.
Actually,
Keeping
it's
both
really
of
not.
your
It's
clenched
it's
fists in
actually
front
a
of your
piece of
chest
paper.
with elbows hanging
This
freely
is
at
how
your
Bruce
side.
Lee practices power.
Bend both knees
Because
slightly
what he would do
and
was
twist your body
he
back
would
and
punch
forth,
at the
pivoting
paper
on the
and
balls
try to
of your
make the
feet,
paper move.
letting your hips
And
initiate
by
the
doing
rotating
so,
motion.
you're adding snap
Simultaneously,
into the
as your body
punches
is rotating,
and making the
raise
paper
your elbow
move.
to your shoulder height just in
So
time
when
to
you're
apply
about
an
to hit
elbow
it,
strike to the
you
target.
snap at
It
the
is
last
very
minute
important that
to
your
make the
foot
paper
be
move.
slightly
So
ahead of your shoulders
the
to
extra
obtain
power
maximum
is
power.
there when you throw
Once you
that
feel
punch.
comfortable with this exercise,
Now,
step
once
back
you
about
get
10
better
feet,
at this,
use
you
your
can
hips,
actually do it
keeping
to
the
a
same body
candle.
position with good
If you
balance.
light up a candle, you set it there and you try to punch it, try to just knock it out with air. So punch as hard as you can, snap at the end, and try to push the air into that candle and knock it out. I mean, I've seen some grandmasters that have done it, and they knocked out not just one candle, but they knocked out a whole bunch of candles. You know, if you see like Conor McGregor, if you ever see him doing it, he knocks out candles and he actually uses his feet to put out candles too. It's not really easy. It's actually pretty hard because you're actually generating as much power as you can in the punches to
Once
try
you
to
have
knock out
grasped
that
this way of
candle.
hitting, you
So
can begin
very,
to work
very
on your
neat way
power
of
moves
actually
by hitting the
learning
heavy
how to
bag.
actually throw power
Facing the
into
bag,
your
bend
punches.
your knees slightly,
And that's what
rotate
Bruce Lee
your
used
hips,
to do.
and your weight should shift toward the
Now
target
here, this is
just
where Richard
before you
Bustillo is
pull
hitting the
back.
heavy bag.
If you can master this
And you see
punch
how
at the
he's
right
twerking,
timing by rotating
or
your hips,
his
you'll have
hips
a
are
punch
twerking
much more
and they're
powerful than a jab.
turning, and the power is
Remember
just
to
coming
punch
straight from the
through the
hips.
bag instead of
It's
just
coming
the
straight
punch.
from the hips. And I don't know if he's actually snapping with the punches, but that's the way of throwing an actual punch because you don't want to really wind up for a punch to throw for power. You just have your hands in front, and now the power just comes from the hips, the torque, your feet, your forearm, your lats, and that's where the power comes from when you throw in those punches. And that's what he's working on right here is where he's turning, punching that with power, and he's just keeping everything very, very close and tight. So he doesn't have to wind up for a punch or he doesn't have to totally turn for a really hard punch or anything. And so here they're hitting mitts,
Besides the heavy
and
bag, there
Ted
are other types
is
of
just
equipment that will
doing
supplement your
very
punting training.
simple, basic
The focus pad is
punches, just
ideal
jab,
for
cross,
precision
hooks,
punching and
uppercuts.
increasing your speed.
That's about it. He's not doing any spinning back fists, or you're not seeing any kind of other fancy punches. It's just straight punches, jab, cross, and if there's a hook, he throws a bent arm punch. You know, just but he's still extending it out. Jab crosses, see, just like what I said, jab crosses. Ted's just practicing the simple jab crosses or
The
cross
shield is more
jabs.
solid than the focus pad
And
and
that's
will not give
basically
in,
what
thus
JKD
giving
is.
the
It's just
puncher a
pretty much
completely
using
different feeling upon
as
mounting.
little tools as you can. You don't have to use all the tools that you have because it doesn't need all the tools to take someone out. Yeah, sometimes it just only takes a jab cross and that's it. So here's a side kick, okay? Now, you see how Ted is perfectly straight with the side kick?
To execute a powerful side kick, stand with your feet apart and parallel to each other.
Comes in,
Lift your right
that
foot about
feet
12 inches
replaces
from the
that
floor
foot, and
as
that
you
foot goes
balance on
out
your left.
just like that, brings it back
Stomp your
in,
right foot
and
straight
sets it
down
out.
with force
That's a
and let it
perfect side
snap
kick.
upward about an inch from the
See how
floor.
he turns his hip like that?
Punching
With
the
that
flowing
extra
energy,
torque,
here again,
you're
you
gonna
should
actually
concentrate
get
with
that
heaviness in your
that
foot.
hip to hit
For the
further,
extra power,
and your body's going to
twist
be
your
like a
hips
pole. It's
just
going to
an
act like a
instant
pole
before
when
the
you
full
hit them.
extension of
So
your
they're going to
leg,
actually
so
fly
it
back
gives you
like
the
that.
twisting force in your kick. Then snap your foot at the full extension
So here he does
for
it
the
again.
gripping effect.
Boom. Now, I've never actually felt Ted Wong's side kick, but that guy is flying back pretty far. So I'm assuming he can kick pretty hard. Nice. Very nice. Now to the heavy bag. Now, if you ever watch Bruce Lee's sidekick, he does it. There's like two ways of him doing a
After you have the
sidekick,
knack
and
of
I
doing the
covered that
sidekick,
one in
you are prepared to kick
Bruce
the
Lee's
heavy bag.
sidekick,
From the on-guard
where Bruce
position,
Lee
do
would
the
kick it
forward
straight,
burst
like how Ted's
and
doing
aim
right
your blow
now.
directly at the center
Or
of the bag.
if you were like
At
a
impact,
bigger,
your foot
taller
should land
person, Bruce Lee would
horizontally on the
actually
bag,
send you
probably
up,
the
up
sound of
into
impact
the air.
should be a
So
loud,
he'll do it
clanging
like at
thud,
a
like a whip
angle
if you
where
have
he's
hit
actually
through the
kicking
bag and snapped
upwards,
your foot at the end.
and that's what knocks
If there
people
is
off
more push
balance.
than
Is
hit,
because
the sound
when he
will
kicks
feel
at an
the impact.
angle, he
In
knocks
most
you
kick,
up,
there is force
and
exerted,
you're
so
trying
the
to
hit will do the damage,
catch
and the
yourself when you're
push will
falling
just
back down,
knock the opponent
but you're off balance already, and so that's why they go they start pedaling backwards. So that was Bruce Lee's way of kicking, was either straight forward or slanted going at an upward angle. Now this is the front kick. This is the second kick that Ted Wong shows,
Although the front kick
and it's just a
is not
simple
as
front kick
powerful as the side
using the
kick,
pendulum step.
you
So
can increase the
foot
explosive
replaces the front foot and
by
then
using your hips.
kicking upwards.
Instead of relying only on the snap
Now
of
that
your
that is
foot
like
from the knee,
you're kicking them in the
jerking your
balls,
hips
and so you're
forward
just like
just an
kicking them
instant
between the
before
legs.
contact. Timing of this movement is
And
very
and then there's the
important and
thrust,
difficult to
the
do.
front.
But by using your
This is
body
also a
instead of
front
just your
kick,
leg,
but
you can
more
add
like a
much more
thrust
power
kick.
to this
So
kick.
it's a forward thrust kick, or a front thrust kick. But we just call it front kick. Just keep it simple. There's different varieties of the kick. So front thrust, inverted kick. Now this one is to the side. Okay, these were useful, but they're very tricky because
Like the
you're
front kick,
you're at a
the
bad
inverted
angle
kick
when
is
you're done.
delivered in a
So if
similar
you miss the
snapping
guy,
motion,
the
except that your
guy's
foot is angled
very
out toward your
easily
opponent's
to
body,
trip you,
and
or
contact
he's
is made
actually
with the
very
top of the
easily
foot.
to return fire, and you're in a bad position because you're on the side. So these I rarely ever use. In the cage, in practice, yep,
Opposite
never.
of
I
the
don't
hook
think
kick,
I've ever
the
used these.
inverted kick can be targeted to the legs, the groin, and the head of your opponent.
So Ted's showing you all the variations of the front kick. And then the hook kick, the third kick. Now this was they would call it the front roundhouse, but it would just be they would JKD guys would call it a hook kick, where the front leg would actually come
Hook your
around,
lead knee until your
and
thighs
it was
are
called the
hung.
hook kick because
Your
that
leg below the knee
front
should be
leg
hung loosely
can actually
twice into
hook
the floor at about
behind
45
the
degrees.
opponent's
Your
leg
weight should be
and
completely
pull
on the
it
rear hip,
backwards.
with
So
the knee slightly
so
bent
you'll be
and
pulling
your
it
body
back,
leaning
and
back.
then they would be losing
Then
balance.
pivot
So
on
it
the
was
ball
kind of
of your
like a
rear foot,
tricky
which automatically
kick
induces your
where it
hips to
was
rotate.
also a
Finally,
front
snap your foot
round
from the
kick
knee,
to a hook
which
kick. You
straightens
could
the
also hook the
supporting
leg,
leg. The
and
hook
that's
kick is
why it
performed
was
with
called a
just
hook
one
kick,
motion from the time your foot
because
leaves the
you
hook.
could do many things with that
The hook
kick
kick
right
is
here.
focused
So
generally on the
coming
upper
from the
thigh,
side,
the waist,
looping
and the
around,
hip.
hooking,
It is especially
kicking to
effective
the
in
head, the
targeting the
stomach,
ribs.
the neck. So that was the hook kick for the JKD guys who train with Ted. Now the speed training. This
Another
way
exercise
of
that you can
training
include in
speed,
your training is
we
the
did
grappling
something
training.
similar to this, but
Stand
this
about a
way
full arm's
was
width
actually a
plus
lot
another 4
safer.
inches away from
The
you.
way we did it
Let
was
your
more
partner keep his hands about a foot apart
bad
in
for
front
your
of you.
elbow.
The idea
So I
is
would
to
do
throw a
this,
punch to his face or
and this
body
was
straight
something
into
that
his hand.
I thought was really neat.
It is a test as to whether you can hit the target before he can clap your hand. If he can't, then let him reduce the distance between his hands to about 6 inches.
So that is a really neat drill, actually. Trying to get that with speed drill training, that was really fun.
As the assailant attacks,
Now we're
counter
gonna
with
do
a
some
quick and powerful
self-defense, and
side
we're
kick
gonna
with a
actually
forward
critique
knee.
and talk about some of these,
Follow through
see if
with
they
a back
work
kick.
and what I think about them. Now, if you see here, Ted comes out, he just kicks to the knee and then punches them in the face. That is so typical of
Before the
JKD
attacker can throw a punch, counter
practitioners
with a side
and
kick to his
fighters,
knee,
because
then
you're
follow up
getting
with a kick
directly
to the
to the
groin.
point. So you're kicking him in the knee and you punch him in the face instead of trying to trap some hands or do anything. You're just kicking them and then finishing it off with a blow.
With no warning, the
So
attacker
here,
rushes towards you and attempts a kick
I don't know
to your
why somebody
midsection.
would come and sidekick you,
Step
but
back,
you know, if
watch
it does ever
but
happen,
as soon
which
as
it
the
does,
attacker places his foot down,
side
execute
kick
a
to the
side kick
leg
to the back of his knee.
and
Follow up with a choke
you
hold.
would throw them down like this. Which this is something I would never use. I think it's just kind of funny how someone would come and sidekick you, but this was in the books that Bruce Lee wrote, in his fighting method, one of the ways of attack. I'm guessing this is already two people about to fight.
The assailant
That's why the
kicks
guy
you
has
in
his
the
hands
top,
up and he's
an
down like
unusual
that.
way of attacking.
So here
An
Ted
army
steps
guard
back and
position,
just kicks him
deliver a
right in
side
the
kick to
back,
the side of the forward
and then
knee,
pulls his
causing him to
shirt,
drop.
finishes
Follow up by
him
dragging
off
him
with
down.
like a
Finish off with a heel
stomp to the
stomp
face or a kick to the face.
Once the
Just
assailant is down on
bam.
the ground, you
Very
have to make
cruel,
sure he doesn't
but I like it
retaliate,
because
so always
that if you
follow
kick
through
someone in the
with your
face when they're
technique.
down, that more likely might finish the fight. Might even kill him. He comes. Oh, that was just funny how he came in like that. Now
Against a
here,
full swing,
the
you
person's
have more
winding
time
up
to
for the
counter
punch,
because the
and
assailant breaks
closest weapon,
intelligently his
closest
movement.
target. Side
Before the
kick.
punch can reach you, lean back and execute a
Side kick.
side kick
His
to
leg
check.
was closest to the closest to the target, so he used his leg to kick the guy. And that's one thing that you're probably going to hear a lot in JKD is when they say
When the
closest target,
assailant attempts a
closest
rear
weapon to
right hook,
closest target.
parry the block to the side of your head and immediately follow with a finger jab to the eye.
It's always going to be the
As the
closest hand
assailant
or the
attempts a rear
closest
right hook,
leg to the
rotate
target.
your hips
Now in
quickly,
this situation
quickly
right here,
placing your weight evenly on
he
both
uses
feet
his rear
and
hand,
execute a finger jab to the eye
and that
without
is
blocking the
because
attack.
his
The
rear
fighting
hand
hand can
was
change of position
more
to
in
cause
front.
the assailant's punch to miss its mark. Like the full swing attack, you have more time to counter against
Now
someone
here,
trying to tackle you.
he's
If
actually
the
in his other
assailant attempts
stance,
to
so
tackle your legs from the
he
on
used his
guard
leg
position,
as the
step forward
closest
and deliver
weapon
a
to the
front
closest
kick to
target,
the
which was the
attacker's
guy's
face.
face, was a target, and he kicked him in the face. Now don't think that the face is the only target or the body is the only target too. You can also hit the hands and the feet too. Those are
As the
targets
assailant
also.
attacks with a tackle, slide
Here
your rear
Richard's
foot
got
out
a
slightly to brace yourself.
guillotine,
Grab the assailant's neck in a headlock
sprawn
as he comes toward you.
backwards,
Slide your front foot backward and pin the assailant to the ground while maintaining a chokehold.
and
Be sure to
I don't know
execute the
what
pin
this
quickly,
is, but
or the attacker could make a strike to your groin.
yeah, I don't know about this one. But if it was me, I would definitely drop on his head, and
An
not on my
assailant
elbow though,
seizes your
but
chest
drop
with
on
his
his
left
head.
hand and attempts to knee your groin. Grab the
Let's
assailant's
see.
left arm and
Yeah.
simultaneously execute
Okay.
a right palm
Okay.
fist strike to his groin. Then thrust your left
One,
hand to his
two,
throat.
three. Ooh,
While
and the
shoving his
trip.
throat back,
Oh, that was a
grab
real
his
trip
sleeve
too.
with your other hand,
Well,
pulling the assailant clockwise and down.
this for me,
Finish
it
him off with a
kind
stomp
of a
to the
little
face.
bit too much because he grabs your shirt, and then Richard I think does like a trapping and hits him in the balls, chokes him, and sweeps him. A little bit too much when you could just kick him in the balls and then gouge him in the eyes.
The
Now he's
assailant grabs
pulling.
your arm with
Richard
both of his hands. Quickly face
kicks
him and
the
deliver
thigh
a low crescent kick to the knee, followed by a punch
and
to
then
the
punches
face
him in the face.
and a
Okay,
leg
I like
sweep
the
and
punch,
stomp to the head.
right? Because he's in
The
position
crescent
for
kick
it,
may not
which
be powerful when you
I
first
would like.
attempt it.
I agree with this one.
Practice on the
I
heavy
don't mind
bag
with
can
this
make
one.
it into a
The only
valuable,
thing is that you
strong
could have
kick.
just punched him in the face in the first place instead of the kick to the thigh, because now you're off balance. And then the stomp to the head is always a good one. Boom, boom, sweep, and then stomp to the head. Yeah.
An assailant grabs
No
your arm
side
with
kick.
both of his hands.
Okay.
Lean back and quickly deliver a low
To the
side
knee.
kick
I'm
to the
assuming
attacker's
that's
knee.
the kneecap that they're trying to kick. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then punch the face.
An assailant
I'm
grabs your
assuming that
right arm.
was
Before
meant
the
to be
attacker
there.
can throw his punch,
Now
pull your
here
right
is a
arm back,
cross.
twist your hips, and deliver
Someone
a
grabs
left
your hand
cross without
cross. I like
hesitation.
that because I've done that before. A guy grabbed my hand
Attacking
in the
you from
cage,
behind, the
and I
assailant
sent my
locks
other
your right
hand at him,
arm
and he
and keeps
ducked
your
right out of
head
the
in a
way.
grip.
That was funny.
Using the attacking
But
moment, turn your body
here we
toward your
got
locked arm counterclockwise,
oh right through the balls.
forcing the assailant's
Yeah,
left
I
arm.
actually seen that one in the
While
cage
keeping the
before,
assailant's
but it
arm
wasn't to
locked
the
under your
balls, actually
body,
to the face.
execute a reverse
Because the
elbow
guy he
strike
actually
to his groin,
had him in
head, butt, and
a
knee to the side.
crucifix, and the guy elbowed him right in the face instead of the balls. But he's in that position, so that'll be fine. Coming from behind,
The
grabbing the
attacker puts a
hand,
reverse wrist lock on your right hand.
turning around,
Immediately
and doing a
retaliate with
sidekick.
a side kick to his midsection,
Bam.
and a spinning back kick to the same section of his body with your
And
other
then
foot.
you're doing
If
another
someone
side
grabs
kick.
you with a reverse lock,
Or actually, no, a
you
turning
have to
back
counter
kick.
instantly before he can pin you to the ground.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to do because he's so close. So you won't be able to get much distance to build up that power.
An assailant grabs your chest
So
with
I would
both
say,
hands.
nah.
Lock the attacker's arm
This
while
one,
simultaneously executing
okay,
a
I can
right
see why
cross to his
he
face.
did that. But I think if he lift up the knees and knee him in the balls and
An
then punch him in
assailant
the
grabs
face
your
would have been
chest with
fine.
both
It would
hands.
have worked too.
Lock the
Because they
assailant's
were the
arm,
same,
then
well,
follow
almost the
through
same
with a
height,
forward
but
elbow strike to the
you know,
attacker's face. The
it still would
important
have worked.
movement in this section is to trap the assailant's right hand
Elbow him
and
right
attack
in the
before he
face,
can do damage to you.
grabbing those hands so he doesn't move. Yeah, that would work.
An attacker sneaks up behind you and grabs your shirt.
Now we got
Quickly
a
turn your torso
back
and apply a
fist to the
back fist to the
face.
attacker's face.
Yes, that definitely will work. Especially, ooh, yeah. When he put in real time,
The
yeah, it
assailant
looked
grabs
good.
you with a back arm lock that is difficult to
Now
get
someone's
out
got
of.
you from back
The
there
quickest
and you
way
do a
is to
turning back
execute a
kick.
back kick to his groin.
Yeah, to the balls. Okay, yeah. I could agree with that one.
The assailant grabs your chest
Grabbing your
and
shirt and
attempts
you
to
just
punch
punch
your
him in the
face.
face. Sure.
Grab the assailant's
I
wrist
like
with your
that.
left hand and at the same
Directly
time
to the
deliver a
point
punch
and then go
straight
for
to
a
his
leg
jaw.
sweep.
Follow up with a trip and takedown
Throw him
and
to
a
the
knee to his
ground.
face. Instead of a punch to the assailant's jaw,
Yep, no
you
problem
can
with that
also
one.
use an effective finger jab.
And dropping your knee on his face. Uh-huh. Yep, he'll like that. Boom, boom. Defense against chokeholds and hugs. Okay. Now chokes.
An assailant attempts to choke you. Grab his arm,
Boom, there you go.
step out to
See?
the side and deliver a front kick to his groin.
If that's
and
there,
stick to the
take it.
head.
I don't know why people don't do that more often. I don't know. Honestly, I'm like dumbfounded why they don't do that. I understand the guy was taller than you and they lift you up and you couldn't do it, but most times they just don't do it.
An attacker has a strong
Now
headlock
let's see
on
this
you.
one.
Quickly deliver a
Okay.
finger jab to his eyes with your
Okay.
free hand.
That's kind of hard to
Then
do
control the attacker with a
because your
wrist
head is already stuck there. So getting that hand all the way up there is difficult. I would have just used that closer hand, the one that's right around his back, to come on top of his arm and grab his hair
An
or
assailant has a
grab
headlock on
his nose like that.
Place the hand that's
But I wouldn't
behind the
come on that
attacker's
side.
back
I would
over
actually
his
go on the
shoulder
other side and
claw
push him
his
away.
face. Again,
But
control him
that works
with a
too
wrist
if
lock.
that works for you. Me, I kind of have shorter arms and guys tend to be taller than me, so. And Richard Bustillo, I've actually met him twice. He is actually a
The
pretty
attacker
tall
has
guy.
the same headlock on
He was
you.
like
Turn your body
5'10",
toward the attacker,
5'11".
and with your free
Yeah,
hand,
I'm
execute
like
a blow to his
5'7", so he's
groin.
actually taller than me.
Whenever you're caught
Very
in a
nice
headlock,
guy.
you must act fast with a
I
counter,
remember him.
or else the attacker will drag
He
you
didn't
to
have
the
this much
ground,
hair, that's for
making
sure.
it harder to free yourself. An assailant sneaks up behind you and strangles you with his left
Boom.
arm, grabbing your right hand.
Elbow to the
Before
stomach
the
and
assailant
then
can
stomping
bend
the
you
foot.
backward
All
in
right,
a
all right.
vulnerable position,
Yeah.
move quickly to your right and apply an
And
elbow
then in your
strike to the
stance.
assailant's
I think that
exposed
one
rib
will
area
work.
and
This one,
stomp
yeah,
on his
bam,
feet.
bam. Yep. Now it depends
An attacker
who you're
grabs you from
elbowing too,
behind
because
and puts you in a
okay,
tight
now
bear
this
hug,
one I would
pinning
definitely
both of
agree
your
with,
arms.
and that. For
Immediately,
like if it was a
execute
child,
left-hand strike
those
to
were
his
the
groin
sensitive
and
spot.
headbutt to his
So
face.
you're still going to affect them if they were bigger than you. But the one before this one, kind of question about that one.
The
This
assailant has a
one,
bear hug around you, but
turning
your
elbow
arms
to
are
the
free.
face.
Instead of attempting to free yourself from the grip,
Now you're going
just
for
deliver
a
a reverse
wrist
elbow
lock.
strike to his
Or
face,
actually, no
then
way.
continue with an arm
Standing
lock.
Kimura. Or a key lock. Yeah, I was taught this one in MMA. And it's very difficult to get, honestly. Because you really have to fight for it. But if you get it, you got it. Standing bear
The
hug.
assailant grabs you from the
Oh,
front and lifts you
okay.
off your feet. Swing
So
your
you
foot
actually
back and
grip
deliver
their
an upward
pants
knee
so
blow
that they
to the
can't lift you
assailant's
any
groin.
higher. Ah, I just learned something new. That's actually neat. And then do a
The assailant grabs you from
flying
the
knee
rear
to the
and
balls.
lifts you off
Okay.
your feet. Swing back your head to bang it against the assailant's face. Another option
Ooh.
is to execute a blow to his groin with either of your free hands.
Pat him in the balls and
You
then
have
they'll
more
let go.
time to
Okay.
act in this situation because the attacker can't
Okay,
do
I
anything to you
could
as
believe
long
that.
as he keeps hugging you.
That's a sensitive spot, so I could believe that will probably work.
The assailant has a frontal headlock
Now
on
if they
you.
got you in a headlock,
Before he
what do
can
you
drop
do?
you to the ground, take aim and throw
Right
an
to the
uppercut
balls,
through his
yep.
groin.
That's what I would
Sometimes in
do.
close quarters fighting, you may
I would
end
actually
up in a
carry through with
headlock.
that. I would just
The
like
most
lift them up
important
too.
thing is to
if they
counter
were
quickly so
if they
you
were
are
my
not
size,
pinned
if they
to
were
the ground.
bigger, it's gonna be difficult to lift them up. Okay, so
An
they got a
assailant
knife.
swings a club at you. Stepping back just enough to let the club miss you, quickly retaliate with a
Sidekick
side
after he
kick to the
misses
body.
with the knife. Yeah, so you got to wait until he actually swings that knife and then sidekick him. That is very, very hard to do, honestly. You got to have perfect timing for that, and you got to be fast, too.
As
You
the
duck
attacker
under.
swings his club at you, duck under the blow and block his
Okay,
arm to prevent
so
another swing.
block the arm.
Immediately counter with a knee to
Come
his
up with a
midsection.
knee to the gut. Ooh. Yeah, okay. All right, so I can see if they're very slow. Yeah, I can see that happening. Of course, you got to finish them off
The
so they can
assailant
get back
attempts to
up.
jab you with his club. Block the
Oh,
jab,
yeah,
and
this one is
simultaneously
scary. I would
deliver a
not do
strike to
this
his
one.
head and throat.
If that was an actual
Then
knife
maintain an arm lock
and he did that,
disarm
yeah,
the
I
opponent.
wouldn't. I would stay away from this one. Yeah. Okay, so here.
As the attacker attempts a swing at you, move
So you move
swiftly
in
towards him,
before he actually
jamming his
swings.
arm
So
with your
you
front
actually
hand and deliver a
block that
body
arm
kick.
so he doesn't swing that
Whip him to
bat,
the ground
and then come in,
follow up with a kick.
shovel hook him in the stomach, and then kick his front leg and stomp on his head. Okay, very scary.
If you're at a farther distance, duck
This one's a little
underneath
more
the step.
scary.
As it passes over your head, quickly counter with a hook kick to the
Kick
stomach
him
and a
in the
front
stomach,
kick to the head.
and then stomp on his face when it's in the air. Okay. I agree with the last one, but yeah, this one's scary. Oh, especially when they swing like that. Yeah.
When the assailant thrusts his staff at
No,
you,
that's if
sidestep the thrust
they're
and
trying to
seize
poke
the
you
staff.
with this pole.
Follow up
Then
with a
you
side
kick
kick
them
to
in the
his
gut.
chest while still holding on to the staff
Okay.
and a roundhouse kick
Most
to
time
the
guys
head.
don't do that. They don't use a stick to try to poke you in the stomach. So that's actually very rare. They usually use it for like a
When
bat
the assailant
style
thrusts
where
his
they're trying to
staff at
bat
your
your head off,
midsection, again,
or
sidestep
they're
the thrust,
trying
seize the
to
staff, and quickly execute a
swing
front
at
kick to
you
his
at
hand.
like a
Once the weapon is
12
released,
o'clock to
launch
6
a side
o'clock.
kick into his midsection.
But this, it might happen. It might. I don't know. Yeah. Okay,
The
so we got
attacker
a knife
faces
here.
you with a knife. Before he attacks,
So you
fake
gotta.
a finger jab toward his face, which will cause him to react. Swiftly
Okay, so
execute a
you're
low
gonna
side
distract
kick
him
to
with that
his knee.
front hand,
Follow up with a
so he
kick to
brings
the
that
head.
knife up and then kick him to the leg. All right, and then now foot stomp to the head. Okay, okay, I can see the distraction. You know, like fake a really like that. I could see that happening. All right, you gotta like that one was
As the
planned. You
attacker
have to
swings
plan
the
that
knife
one
at
out.
you, quickly evade
Now
the
this
assault
one
by
is
stepping
timing.
back. Burst
Right, so you
forward with
gotta
a
go
low side
after
kick.
he tries to slash you, and you gotta go fast too, else he's gonna come back and try to slash
An
you.
assailant points
Now
a
this
gun
guy's got a
against your
gun.
back. Quickly turn your body
All right,
counterclockwise, using your arm to
to the
carry his
throat,
hand so you'll be away from the line of fire.
and
Attack his neck and
here,
maintain a hold on his wrist
bring
and
the
follow
knee
up with
up to
blows
the
to the face
face.
while disarming the weapon.
Yeah, man, I don't know. See, the thing with this one, they could just bend that arm, and the gun is still in their hand if you turn around. You know, like if they see you do that, they could just bend their arm really quick. So I would, I mean, yeah, I see Richard is so close to him too. That's why he couldn't bend his arm. But I
Again, move
honestly, I don't
away
know
from the
about that
line
one.
of fire
This
while
one,
attacking his throat and seizing his wrist to disarm the
damn, this one
attacker.
is you got to be fast so that it doesn't fire at you, and I can see it happening, but I wouldn't. There's just so much moves. I would definitely just push him to the side and punch him in
While
the
sitting in a
face or
chair,
gouge him in the
you're
eye so he
approached
can't
by
see
an
me.
assailant.
But
Without warning, he
man, that one
rushes
is
you,
difficult.
and
But
you should
I
immediately,
can see that
without
happening.
hesitation, deliver
So
a
Ted's
front
in the
thrust kick to the
chair,
groin without
and
getting up.
here Ted just closest weapon, closest target, foot to the face, stomach. That's it.
While sitting in a chair, you're
Here
surprised by an
comes
assailant
another
who
one,
grabs your shirt with both hands. Quickly counter with a right
and
punch to his
to the
groin.
balls. See what I mean? Like JKD is more direct to the point. Ted gets directly to the point, and that the point is to finish him off, and that's the most sensitive spot for a man. Hit him in the balls.
While sitting in a chair, an assailant surprises
Now,
you
if someone
from the
chokes you from
rear by
behind while you're
applying a
sitting,
headlock. Immediately grab his hair with the arm closest to his head and
if he
deliver a
has
finger
hair,
jab to his
okay,
eye.
this only works if he has hair, right? So if he doesn't have hair, I don't know about this one. Now, gouge him in the eyes. Okay. And yes, I can totally agree with this one if he has hair.
You are pinned by an assailant who has a
Now, if he's
headlock
got
on
you in
you
a headlock
and
on the
has your right
ground,
hand pinned. With your free
yes,
hand, go
that
for his
that
eyes,
definitely will
then pin
work.
him with your legs and apply
Yes,
a
you can
wrist
bring
lock.
that hand all the way around and do that. And then going into a key lock. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would still push on that chin because even though you get that leg over on his head, he'll still
You are lying
force it
flat on
back
your
in.
back with the attacker choking you.
Oh,
Grasp
someone
one of
choking
his
you on
wrists
top.
to relieve the choke
Yeah,
pressure,
this one is
and with your
difficult.
other hand, execute a finger jab.
So I've done
Follow up with
jujitsu,
counter blows to his
and there's
groin
different ways of
until
getting
he
out of this,
releases his
but
grip.
most of the time you want them to ride on your hips, not on your body, or more on your chest. So here you can still turn them and throw them over. But if they're riding high, there's a different. It's different too. You gotta use a different way of attacking them. But that's pretty much it, you guys. These are some of the things that I wanted to share and talk to you about, and we kind of want to critique and just see if these moves work. But this was a while back, and this video is pretty old, as you guys can see. So I'm just gonna throw this out there, and hopefully you guys kind of like the stuff that I gave you guys and shared with you. There's going to be more to come too. If you guys have any questions or want to see something, you guys just feel free to ask me. I will try to get to it as soon as possible. And also, if you guys haven't already, subscribe, like, comment, and let me know what you guys think. All right. We'll see you guys in my next video. Take care and work hard. We'll see you then. Peace.